All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. We'll be covering lead generation specifically for financial advisors, discussing strategies that we've personally tested and proven that they work. We'll start with some brief introductions. My name's Cassie. I'm the Director of Growth Strategy at Integrated Media Group. Integrated Media Group is a full-service digital marketing and technology agency. We primarily specialize in service-based clients and do a lot in the financial service space. Everything from wealth management, tax planning, investment planning, estate planning, you name it, we've helped in one way or another. So really excited to, again, kind of carry our expertise into today's conversation. Hopefully, we're on track to be just about 30 minutes today, so I appreciate everyone's time. And just a quick overview of the agenda, we'll walk through the current landscape of marketing today, some of the challenges that you may be facing as advisors. We'll walk through strategies that we've proven to be working right now. Talk about some automation tools and how to really position your funnel for success. And do stick around to the end if you can, because you'll have access to a complimentary digital marketing audit after this call. Okay. So why is lead generation evolving in the first place? If you spend any time online, you know that the digital space is extremely crowded. And that means that your customers are also spending their own time online, and that they're not only becoming more savvy and aware of the tech that's around them, but they're overwhelmed by the potential amount of media that they are seeing on a daily basis. That being said, the expectations of the quality of content and service that you're providing is higher than ever because of the amount of noise that they're hearing around them every single day. So at this point, building trust and credibility within your brand is no longer an option online. You have to have your presence be known as credible in person. So when you actually meet these clients, but also online. So here are some of the challenges that, really the top three challenges that we're hearing on a daily basis, essentially. Currently, you're likely confined by the limits of compliance. And within marketing, we'll walk through some common compliance scenarios, but the reality of it is you just can't make promises. That's the most simple way to put it when it comes to marketing for your industry. Some people could look at that as compliance as keeping them in a box, but the reality is just understanding the limitations of what you can and cannot say online. But the biggest takeaway here is planning ahead. Everything that we've seen is that compliance can just take time to get through those approval processes. And of course, that does vary between firms, but you don't want to be planning your communications the day before they have to go out. Ideally, you're planning weeks, if not months ahead, to be ahead of not only planning your content, but planning approvals as well. Our clients, the largest thing that we hear is that we have limited leads. That could be, yes, we're getting leads today, but they're not qualified, or we don't have access to leads at all. So as a solution, really, it's exploring organic and paid prospecting strategies. So that's what the majority of today's presentation is focused on. And then lastly is long sales cycles. It takes time to build that trust and relationship with your prospective clients. So we want to leverage automation when we can to not take away from the experience that you offer the client, but to cut back on manual tasks that you're stuck doing and that may fall to the bottom of your list today. What is working today? Always, 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 I tell my clients, start with the champions, start with who you have and who you've built trust with today. So that could be cross-selling for additional services and products with the existing clients that you may already have in your book, upselling where you can, and then asking for referrals within your current network. That is kind of a baseline that I go over with clients before we even talk about new lead generation strategies. So I would say if you don't have a plan to check these three boxes, you would want to sit down and spend some time thinking about that strategy prior to investing in some of the more impactful growth strategies that we're talking about today for bringing in new leads. It's a lot more cost effective to sell to someone who already has trust with you than to go through the process of trust building with new prospects. Once you have your current upsell pipeline kind of clarified and solidified, that's when we'll start to bring in additional lead sources as well. Eventually, everything works together as its own cycle for scalable growth. The goal is that we have many different lead sources so you can predict your growth from quarter to quarter. Quick call out here. We're really going to emphasize multi-channel marketing today. You'll hear me talk about this a lot, but it's not only, putting your eggs all in one basket in one channel, but also helping build familiarity with your brand across channels. Additionally, we'll talk about some automation tools. We have some slides near the end that talk about HubSpot and Salesforce, but just a quick win, even when it comes to something like scheduling meetings with prospective clients. Don't rely on the back and forth of availability over the next few days and trying to schedule that via an email. Look at tools like Calendly and even native tools that may be offered through Salesforce and HubSpot to help reduce friction in scheduling those calls. So the first real digital entry point for customers may be as simple as your website. So I'm hopeful that everyone on the call today does have a website. And the important thing with a website is not that it's built and left alone. Your website really is something that needs maintenance on a very much an ongoing basis, making sure that it's safely built and online securely, but also that you're consistently putting out additional content so you can entertain the people who may be making it to your site and also increase the chances that more people make it to your site by enhancing your SEO. So really 3 goals of a website. It should establish instant credibility. People should land on your website and understand who you are, what you do, and how that will benefit the individual who's visiting the page. So we can build credibility through things like testimonials from your current customers, case studies, and a big call out that I see in this industry all the time is real images. I don't recommend relying on stock photos for your website. There are a lot of financial service websites that do that. And because of that, you tend to become just another number. At the end of the day, you're really selling yourself as part of the services. So there should be some way to visually showcase you or your team on your homepage so that you're establishing that instant credibility. You and your team are experts who can support these clients. Additionally, we want a website to generate qualified leads. So is your website receiving any form submissions today? If your website is receiving form submissions, are those leads actually qualified? Really making sure that you include call to actions or CTAs on every single page is important, especially on your homepage and especially within your navigation. I would say the default on any website across any industry is having a contact us page. For your industry, you can take it a step further and include a complimentary consultation. And then additionally, we'll talk more about lead magnets, but there should be lead magnets embedded throughout your site too, such as downloading a guide or accessing a risk calculator or something like that. And then you want to set the tone for the experience. Kind of like I hinted earlier, your experience no longer only matters in person. It's beyond just the physical handshake that you can give someone. We have to set the tone for a great experience in the digital world as well. So if people are landing on your website and they're immediately hit with a non-optimized website on their phone, or the site isn't loading, or there's errors flagging the site as a non-secure experience, clients will be hesitant to work with you past that. So really your website is your first entry point to the communication with prospective clients. We talked about lead magnets, utilizing them not only within your website, but within other areas of your funnel. So first off, what is a lead magnet? A lead magnet is a piece of content that you exchange for something from your audience. So you really need to think of it as a give value for value exchange. The most common exchange that we see is a trade of content in the form of anything on this list for an email address. So yes, we're giving things away in the eyes of the client, but we're also earning an email address so that we can now market to these individuals on an ongoing basis. And the relationship continues far past the point of just receiving that first initial PDF. Beyond just generating that PDF and allowing us to communicate with these leads on an ongoing basis, this piece of content allows you to establish your expertise. So you can offer unique types of content that can really help niche you out as an expert within your specific field. So throughout this presentation, we'll talk about 3 stages of the funnel. There's the awareness stage, where we're kind of starting to get introduced as a brand to prospective clients. Consideration stage, where they're thinking about the potential of really seeing themselves working with you in the future. And then the decision stage, where they're actually deciding to move forward with you. So the content will vary depending on where we are in the stage. Awareness stage should really be that flashy giveaway. What's going to resonate with your audience the most, even if they don't know anything about you? So think about the pain points within your audience and develop content around that. There's a few ideas here, but these don't need to be lengthy documents that take you months and months to develop. It's very common that gated content is no more than 1 to 2 pages on a PDF. And even someone with limited design background would be able to build something pretty valuable utilizing tools like Canva or working with someone like IMG. When we move further down into the consideration stage, this is where it's far past that point of one touch. The consideration stage could be weeks, months, years, where we're consistently providing content that your prospective clients can engage with. So monthly or weekly newsletters, tools that exist on your website that they can visit multiple times, such as planners and quizzes, and then case studies and videos that they may engage with over time. And then the decision stage, there's limited content that's available at this stage because this is really the decision-making mode. So usually that would be free consultation, free strategy session, free portfolio review, things like that, where this is kind of closer to the end pitch where you can actually close the deal. So I hinted that you can utilize lead magnets on your website, organic social, and also paid media or paid ads. I really like to explain paid advertising as a way to cut the line. You can have your website optimized with SEO. It can have a great user experience. It can be filled with new content on an ongoing basis. The reality is that in a relatively competitive industry, you will have to be patient with your SEO. Paid ads are a way to cut the line. So there's intent-based marketing and awareness-based marketing. So social media ads, you're meeting people where they're spending their time casually, where they're unwinding after a long day on like Facebook or Instagram, for example. You can pay to display your ads on a channel like Meta, where people are spending their time and they can start to recognize your brand for awareness and start to see maybe some of the lead magnets in a more casual manner. Where on the other hand, we have Google, which is for more intent-based marketing. Those who have a specific need now are utilizing keywords to go out and search for a solution for their need. Both strategies are important and play a role in the entire funnel, but you'll notice that we're typically looking at different channels depending on the objective. If we're trying to build brand awareness versus moving further down the funnel with those higher intent searches. Either way, we have the ability to do precise targeting based on the keywords or the demographics of the individuals who may fit your criteria on either platform. So that's where we get to come in and cut the line. Beyond that, we have retargeting that may happen at any point in the funnel. So typically we're using social media for retargeting those who might have engaged with organic or paid content or visited your website. Calling back to some of our compliance tips, again, looking to stick to facts, avoid promises. So do this, not that. Plan your retirement with confidence versus we guarantee 10 times return on your portfolio. Not only will your compliance officer not approve this, you will likely run into flags on the platform of Meta itself. Some of the ads that I have displayed here are from the Facebook ad library. And typically within your industry, you're actually limited to a special ad category, which means there's an extra layer of compliance protection that comes in with the type of content and promises that you can put out online, and even the targeting that we can do for these demographics. IMG is available to help navigate all of this, but something that you could do right now is head over to, you can just Google this, the Facebook ads library, and you can actually put in your competitors' pages and see what they're currently running for ads, and even get an estimate of what their spend and duration of the campaign may be. Okay, switching gears into LinkedIn. So we've spoken about your website, how it can generate casual or more inbound lead traffic. We have paid advertising, which is considered more of an outbound strategy where we're going out and looking for new business, and we're typically paying to do that. And then we have LinkedIn, which can actually serve as a mix of both. It allows us to establish ourselves as thought experts and content experts by sharing content on a regular basis. And then additionally, LinkedIn offers the ability to do advanced targeting and prospecting, so we can have more of an outbound approach too. So think of LinkedIn as a platform to not only build connections with potential partners, but because of the targeting abilities, we can actually find end clients on LinkedIn too. So the hyper targeting, I've already kind of spoke about this, but you can target by filters like job title, location, company size, employees at company, years in the positions, even if someone's recently gotten a new job. So if you're looking to help with retirement planning, it could be an owner who's been in his position for over 30 years. Or if you're looking for, helping with investment planning, it could be someone who recently started a job at a company with over 10,000 employees, and they're now a C-level executive. So there's a lot of those filtering options that we can use to really help identify your ICP, your ideal client profile. We have built-in visibility. I mean, people are on this platform for business. This is not like Meta where people are casually browsing. They're here to spend time within their industry and understand if there are possible options for them. So that kind of combines our trusted environment plus visibility. And then we're seeing stronger responses on LinkedIn messages than email alone. And when we combine email and LinkedIn together, our response rate tends to skyrocket. So again, that multi-channel marketing where we're not putting all of our eggs in one basket, we're putting a strategy out across channels. So we're allowing your brand name and your personal name to be viewed across different platforms, digital platforms. How can you stand out today? Changes that you could make to your profile this week to improve you for the next few months. So use a profile headline that speaks to your client's goals. So if you're going out and prospecting people who could be an actual client for you, make sure that your current profile is up to date with what their goals are. And be sure to include keywords within all of your LinkedIn profile, because LinkedIn is a bit of a search optimized engine where keywords will help your profile be stronger and show up more. Share market updates, quick tips, and common questions you hear from clients, essentially making sure that you're putting content out on a regular basis. But if you're developing content for other channels like email or other channels of social, you can recycle that content here. So LinkedIn has built-in articles that serve a very similar purpose to what would be a blog on your website or a newsletter sent via email. So you can post your existing content as an article on LinkedIn. You have the benefit of showing up as an expert on a new platform, and LinkedIn will not only notify clients that you've posted content, but it will send them an email on behalf of LinkedIn saying that you've posted new content. So LinkedIn is really favoring content that you're posting within their own platform and helping you get eyes on it, instead of you grabbing links from your website and posting it on LinkedIn. So in general, we're encouraging our clients, if you're posting minimally, it should be at least once a week. And I encourage you to work on batches of content so that it's not a chore to come up with one post a week. If you can dedicate a handful of hours each month to sitting down and developing a dozen or more posts, you'll make your life much easier over the next quarter when things start to get busy. And then within LinkedIn, you have a featured section where you can actually pin posts to the top of your page. So if someone comes to visit your profile, understand if you are the expert that you say you are, you can validate that with content that's available for them to engage with right away. So we just spoke through more of the content strategy. Now I want to talk about how you can leverage LinkedIn as a true prospecting tool. If you're not familiar, LinkedIn does have a premium feature. It's called Sales Navigator. Sales Navigator is essentially LinkedIn's version of Zoom Info. You can leverage targeting criteria to build buckets of individuals from all the attributes available on their profile, some of which we already discussed. Job title, years and position, company, etc. And you can take it even further and understand if they're connected to people of influence within your network. You could say, I want people who are connected to Gil Lantini, for example. You can find people who are members of specific groups. So utilizing Sales Navigator allows us to build buckets of individuals that we want to prospect to and save them to go back to at any time. The native profile without that premium feature, you can still do a lot of the searching, but it's going to be on a one-by-one level. So if you're ready to scale the entire process we're talking about, I would suggest looking at tools like Sales Navigator and other tools that IMG offers to automate this process for you. So it starts with the targeting, building that ideal persona and finding them within LinkedIn. And then the first outreach is really viewing the profile and sending the connection request. LinkedIn allows you to add connection notes. IMG has been doing a lot of testing. We found that those who do not send a connection note typically see a higher acceptance rate. But if you want to spend the time to establish the instant connection as to why you're connecting without selling, you have the option to do that. I really emphasize don't sell here, especially not in your connection note. If you are sending a note, it should be hyper personalized as to why you're connecting and identifying what the win-win would be for each of you. Before you start to reach out to nurture these individuals, we would want to engage with their existing content. So view their profile. And when you do that, the individual actually receives a notification that their profile has a new view. Additionally, you can start to like some of their past posts, you can comment on the content, and you can go back and even endorse individuals if these are people you've worked with in the past. All of this builds familiarity with you as the individual. So with every action that you take on LinkedIn, your name shows up in their notification box and likely shows up in their personal email because they're receiving email notifications from LinkedIn as well. Once you've started to build up some engagement, that's when you can start to nurture. So there's nurturing by making yourself visible with posting strategies like we discussed. And you can also do outbound messaging. So you can do one-to-one style chats once you're connected with people on LinkedIn. And you also have the ability to send in-mail messages, which is a more robust outbound messaging feature. And we're starting to try to have conversations on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a prospecting platform. It's not where you're closing your business. So try to just be curious, ask questions, and encourage to take conversations off of LinkedIn and into meeting rooms when you're ready to start selling. And this is a cycle. So the goal is that you're constantly identifying new targets that you can go after to build up your funnel on LinkedIn. So through the several strategies we've discussed today, the goal is that you would start to generate leads and have a group of people that you now need to follow up with. So we've built awareness, we've gathered leads, now we need to move them a little bit further down into the funnel. So we still have our awareness, consideration, and decision stage, and there are email communications that we can introduce at every stage of that funnel. So the benefit of email, again, is we're introducing another channel. So they maybe saw your website, they saw your ads because we're doing retargeting. You connected with them on LinkedIn, and now you're going to show up in their inbox. That's 4 different channels on 4 different platforms where your name can be visible. Someone downloads a PDF from one of your lead magnets, you can send instant thank you notes to those individuals. You can customize them based on the type of content that they engaged with. Over the next days, weeks, months, you would want to expand on that consideration stage with nurture content, sharing some of the market updates, sharing video contents, sharing links to blogs, sharing benefits for your company. The goal of all of the content in the consideration stage is to get someone to book a meeting or take that next step for you, filling out your quote form or something like that. Once they do that, we're entering that decision stage where we're actually having those meetings and your prospect is getting closer to closing with you. A lot of clients in the beginner stage are using either HubSpot or MailChimp, and you'll notice HubSpot's available in both stages. They offer a starter platform that's very affordable on a monthly basis. And then when you're ready to graduate up into more of the advanced automation features, you can just scale up to their pro plan and keep all of your existing content. A lot of our clients are also working on Salesforce. We work with a lot of clients who maybe migrate off of something like HubSpot or MailChimp and then go into Salesforce Marketing Cloud as well. All of these tools can be utilized to help with some basic email. The more advanced automation and segmentation comes in with either HubSpot or Salesforce when your tool is paired with a CRM. So advanced segmentation and behavior-based triggers, like if someone completes XYZ form, they immediately receive XYZ email, comes in with some of these more advanced tools. Either way, when you're sending email content out, it's always better to try and be specific versus doing batch and blast content. So all 3 of the tools listed below here do offer segmentation so that you can start to build lists based off of if someone met you on your website, if they engage with XYZ type of content. We want to segment when we can so you can send relevant communications to the correct individuals. And again, you're hearing me say it here, combine LinkedIn with email, combine ads with email, really focus on that multi-channel approach. Okay, we're just about done. So just recapping on the funnel, really every channel and every type of asset that we've talked about can be used within multiple stages of the funnel. But awareness, consideration, decision. You have people who are checking out your organic content, really just getting to know you and start to build some awareness that your brand even exists. Consideration is when they start to build familiarity. Oh, I've seen you before on XYZ platform. I've been getting your emails for 6 months. I'm actually starting to consider that it's a possibility that I could see myself working with you in the near future. And then they entered the decision phase where they've received so many emails that they finally raised their hand, filled out that form, and booked the call with you. The entire concept of the funnel exists to keep full. We want to have as many people as we can within the awareness stage so that as you scale down, you have those most qualified prospects for sales down at the bottom near your decision phase. What can you do right now? How could you make this change and start to improve your marketing today? Utilize multi-channel marketing. If that feels too overwhelming and you're not sure that you can be efficient across multiple platforms, give me a call. I'd be happy to talk about your strategy and see if I can make suggestions for you. Invest in your website. It's not enough to just be online. It's not enough to say I built a website 7 years ago. Your website needs to have ongoing maintenance and needs attention monthly. Build up a content library so that it's not a stressful task that you have to deal with on a weekly or monthly basis. Build up your lead magnets, use tools like Canva or even AI to help develop content if you don't have resources in-house. And then again, creating that content for social is really important too. Leveraging automation to enhance, not replace personal relationships. We don't want to never speak to our prospects on a one-to-one basis again, but we want to eliminate a lot of the repetitive tasks that you maybe are getting to, or make sure that those follow-ups are at least in place when people are engaging with your forms or your content. So I know today was brief, but I do hope that it inspired you to start taking some new steps within your marketing journey. After I end today's presentation, you'll actually see a survey pop up on screen. If you have just a minute to fill that out, we'll get back to you with a complimentary audit that's specific to your current marketing efforts. And then I'll be in touch where we can start to dive into your strategy and how we can make improvements today. So I thank everyone for the time today and hope to hear from you all soon. Thanks so much.